conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
You're listening to Believe You Me with Michael the Count Bisping and Anthony Lionheart Smith.
I am back from Saudi Arabia. We are back with the Believe You Me podcast. We got a lot to talk about today. I do want to address really quick, in a joking way, of course, something off the top. See a lot of people complaining online and, oh, these guys might as well forget doing the show. I am very, very sorry that the free content that we put out for you twice a week dropped a little bit recently. I did have surgery. I was in Abu Dhabi. I was on an 11-hour time difference. I was absolutely exhausted. I was sleep deprived. The fact that I fought in the UFC is kind of why you care. The fact that I'm still with the UFC is kind of why you care. The fact that I was in Abu Dhabi was because I was very, very busy. And I know a shirt that says "No Man Alive," but no man might be alive because I got neck surgery again tomorrow. So wish me the best of luck. And of course, I'm grateful that you complain because it means you care and you enjoyed the show. And we care about the show and we enjoyed the show. So we're back. Anyway, just wanted to get that off my chest. I saw you put a tweet out, Harrington, and some very nasty responses.
Yeah, a little bit of grief on the old at BYM pod on X, formerly known as Twitter. But it is what it is. Like you said, it's just passion. It's just people who are passionate and don't have an outlet for it.
I know. And I'm only joking. I'm only pulling a leg. We appreciate all the support on the show. As I said, tremendous amounts to talk about today. An unbelievable event in Abu Dhabi at the weekend. So many talking points, of course. Abu Dhabi in general, I had a great time there. An absolutely phenomenal time. The people, they're so nice. They're so polite. The place is so safe. When you walk around at night, there's women just late at night, just walking around. They're not in danger. People are happy. The food was incredible. I got an Uber to a mall. And I'm in the Uber, beautiful, nice Lexus. I ordered an Uber X. It was like the sickest Lexus ever. The cheapest Uber cost like $7. And I'm in the car and I'm talking to the guy. I'm like, where are you from, bud? Just making small talk. He said, Pakistan. I said, how long you lived here? 10 years. I said, how's it going for you? He said, oh my God, we live an incredible life. No taxis, of course, over there. He's driving an Uber X. He's in a beautiful Lexus. He said he's got 4 kids, pays the bills, no problems whatsoever. And I thought, you know what? I'm moving to Abu Dhabi and I'm going to be an Uber driver. Your life sounds a lot less stressful than mine.
Yeah, you can support 4 children on $7 Uber rides. That's incredible. That does sound like a paradise.
And then, I have surgery again tomorrow. We will do a show on Thursday. We will do that. That is the plan right now. We'll talk more about that later. But let's get into these fights. 308, Abu Dhabi, didn't disappoint. That main card was phenomenal. As I said, so many talking points. I guess we'll start with Topuria, though. Ilia Topuria. We know the conversation, could he knock out Max Holloway? I thought Topuria would do it, but I didn't think he'd do it by knockout. I just couldn't picture that. I couldn't allow my mind to go there. And right from the start, went out there, showed his dominance, got some takedowns, threatened him with the boxing, beautiful head movement, excellent accuracy as always. But Max Holloway, he ain't no bitch, worked his way back into the fight. I love that because he was mixing up the front kicks. And then what he would do would fake a front kick and then come down with a stamping oblique kick to the lead leg. That was kind of interesting. I loved how he was doing that. And he was doing okay towards the second half of the first round. And in the second round, it was competitive. I still had Ilia ahead in every round, but he was doing well. Like the first round, Ilia, I think he emptied the tank a little bit, and so he slowed down a touch. That allowed Max to get back into it. Second round, a bit more competitive. Max landing some good shots, nice double jab right hand. Topuria, of course, landing the bigger shots. Holloway had done his homework clearly because anytime he was backed up against the fence, that's when Topuria becomes an absolute killer and a savage. Max Holloway, with a sense of urgency, would use lateral movement to get away from the fence. So clearly did his homework. But, of course, round 3, right hand, follows it up perfectly. And did the unthinkable, did something that has never been done before, did something that Conor McGregor couldn't do, Dustin Poirier couldn't do on 2 occasions. Who else?
Justin Gaethje couldn't do.
Charles Oliveira couldn't do. You know what I mean? All these absolutely killers. And Ilia Topuria goes out there, did what he said he was going to do, won the fight via knockout.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. I mean, you know, like you said, he was ahead. I checked the judges' scorecards. I was actually shocked by this because to me, Max Holloway largely dominated that first round, right? Like, Ilia got the double leg, picked him up, slammed him down. He landed that one big shot at the end of the round that dropped Max. But I mean, the volume of punches Max was landing almost at will, the ring generalship to keep moving around, keep Ilia chasing him. I felt like as long as there was no situation where, like you were talking about, Max was squared up against the fence and Ilia was able to kind of tee off, that Max was just going to take over on the scorecards. I was 100% wrong. The judges largely had it. I think all three judges gave the first round to Ilia. One judge gave the second round to Max. But yeah, I mean, it was one-way traffic for Ilia Topuria in a fight that I personally thought Max Holloway was starting to gain momentum and start to really take over heading into the later rounds.
Well, it looks like you were one of the judges that gave that first. Was it one of the first fights of the night? 30-27.
First fight of the night. Fakhretdinov.
Other way. I loved as well. For all the talk, like Ilia Topuria is a very confident man. And he's got everything, to be honest. He's got the looks, he's got the swag, he's got the style, he's got the skills, he's got the undefeated record, he's got the support. He had Sergio Ramos, one of the most famous football players on the planet there. He had the King of Spain in attendance. I mean, if that doesn't tell you something, that is just mind-blowing. I can't even get knighted in the UK. This guy's got the King of Spain flying to Abu Dhabi to support him. Somebody pointed out, oh no, it was the King's father. All right, well, the King's father used to be the king. That's kind of how it works. But no,
is that the
what?
Is that the guy who he ran up to after he got the knockout?
I have no idea.
Because I remember he ran up.
My own reaction on YouTube going,
I remember he ran up and shook some old guy's hand, and then right next to him was Steve Harvey, and he shook his hand, and I was like, "That's a wild 1-2 combination." Like the one person you wanted to, yeah, it was Steve Harvey was standing right next to whoever Ilia made a beeline to, and then
Family Fortunes,
Family Feud.
Yeah, Family Feud. Yeah. Well, we call it Family Fortunes in the UK. Okay. Yeah, Steve Harvey, what a guy. Nah, man, unbelievable. And I loved at the start when he walks out and he does this. Anyway, come on, let's go, and all the rest of it, because they talked about it. Topuria, I said he was setting a trap, trying to get under the skin of Max. Looks like that was working a little bit. But then ultimately, you don't know until the fight starts. Max stuck to the game plan. He didn't take any chances. He was trying to fight a smart fight. But there's just something different about Ilia Topuria. The power that he has, the movement that he has, the head movement. For example, so he's here and he's bobbing and weaving a lot, right? The relevance of that is that if you bob this way, the power, the weight of your body goes onto your lead left leg. So then you can push off the lead left leg to generate big power with your left hook. If you go on this side, it goes onto your rear leg. And then you can explode with the right hand. It's basic boxing stuff. But the reason that he bobs and moves so much is for that reason. I mean, that left hook that he finished him with was pitch perfect. It was beautiful. The rotation on it, the way he turned his entire body, the way the foot rotated, so it's like a golf swing or swinging a baseball. You use your entire body. And at 145 pounds, he hits incredibly hard. So commiserations for Max Holloway. Everybody loves that guy. He's an absolute legend, future Hall of Famer, one of the best guys in the sport, but there's no denying it. The champion of the world, Ilia Topuria, El Matador. This guy's something special.
He really is. I mean, we're talking, I heard a lot of comparisons, people calling him 145-pound Alex Pereira. And it's like, I see it, dude. Like, this guy it feels like he's inevitable at this point, right? Like he will continue to stalk you, will continue to walk you down until he finds that kill shot. Every single person he's been in there with, he's either finished them or hurt them, like really, really to the point where we've never seen anyone doing that kind of damage to a guy. And add into that, he has the wrestling. He has the jiu-jitsu. Like, he is a complete fighter outside of the fact that I think standing and trading, Max Holloway was the best boxer in the UFC coming into this. I think he still might be the quote unquote best boxer, but like straight up, we're going to stand and have a war of strikes. I don't think anybody 155 or under walks out of that the winner with Ilia Topuria.
Max Holloway is a very good striker, or a very good boxer. Ilia Topuria just knocked him out. Ilia Topuria is a better boxer. Ilia Topuria slips and rips better. Ilia Topuria has beautiful ringmanship. He cuts off the cage well. He pressures well with his feet and his presence. And of course, when you deliver shots, he knocks people out. And that is a big part of boxing, how you generate the power. People talk about power being God-given, and to a certain degree it is, or you're just born with it. But you can work on that. There's certain things you can do, as Eddie Hall was telling us recently. But the right hand that he connected with to wobble him, the left hook that he landed to finish him, and as he does that to everybody in the UFC, it's going to be unbelievable to see what he does next. I know they're talking about going to a stadium in France.
Spain.
In Spain. What am I saying? Stadium in Spain, right, with 100,000 people, 120,000 people. He could do that, right? Ilia Topuria now. And this is a wild shout. He is somebody that has all of the ingredients to be the next Conor McGregor, to be the person to reach that level of fame. Because there's lots of big stars and there's been huge celebrity status gained through being a UFC fighter. Alex Pereira's doing incredible stuff, but I don't think he'll cross over into the mainstream. When I say mainstream, reach that Conor level, that real worldwide superstar. Pereira's a worldwide superstar, you know what I mean? But to a lot of people not involved in mixed martial arts, they might not know who he is. Pretty much everyone on the planet knows who Conor McGregor is, right? Like
Pereira has hit Chuck Liddell heights. Ilia Topuria may have a Conor ceiling.
Yeah, no, and Pereira's probably gone bigger than Chuck because the sport's bigger now. But Topuria, because look at the following that he has already. Having people like the King of Spain fly out there, rubbing shoulders with all these high-level celebrities. The fact that he is so good, the fact that he's undefeated, but also he's representing two countries, Georgia and Spain, right? And Spain is still, to a certain degree, a kind of untapped market, right? The UFC's never been to Spain.
Never done a show.
And mainland Europe in general, right? They just started going to France a couple of years ago. Germany was a few years ago. Then they haven't been there. They haven't been there recently. Europe's a massive continent. Europe has hundreds of millions, if not over 1 billion people. And it's a whole market that doesn't really understand how great mixed martial arts is, and he's the dude that's going to open that door. He's going to kick that door through. Right, as well as in America and Brazil and all over the place. But in Europe, he's flying that flag, right? He will help elevate mixed martial arts. And that's what I'm saying. That's why he could be a guy that goes on to become something like a Conor McGregor, which is a wild shout. We always said he was a unicorn that will never be replaced, and maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. But if there's anyone that we've seen in the last couple of generations, Ilia Topuria might be that guy.
What if it's just a magic combination of tattoos? It's like he pretty much.
There's some similarities with the tats. There's similarities with grabbing the belt. There's similarities with walking around with a BMF on and all the rest of it. We're not going. I saw you put in the notes McGregor and Topuria getting into it. We're not going to talk about that. I'm not really concerned. We don't need to talk about McGregor right now. We're talking about Ilia Topuria and what he just did to Max Holloway. But go on, please.
Well, we're talking about a guy like Ilia Topuria he's 27 years old right now, right? That's about the age Conor was when he went on his run in 2016. So, the parallels are there. He's a champion at this age of his life, right? Like in the absolute prime of your fighting career, right? The
featherweight champ.
Yeah, you're the featherweight champ. You have probably the most legitimate call out of anyone at any weight division to go up and try for 2 division champion status. Add to that, he's on the cover of Marca in Spain after he won the belt against Alexander Volkanovski. That is a massive, massive publication that does real numbers. Is like the premier. It's like their Sports Illustrated mixed with their New York Times or whatever, and he's on the cover of that at 26 years old at the time, right? This is a guy who the ceiling is kind of limitless. add to that the knockouts, like as he keeps growing, the guys who he's putting on his resume, Volkanovski and Holloway back to back, it's only going to go up from there, and the legend's only going to continue to grow.
Yeah, because like if you look at back in the day, becoming the heavyweight champion of the world in boxing, right? You were a household name. Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, and so on and so forth. You saw them in massive A-list movies, you know, like Hollywood blockbusters and stuff like that, making appearances. Anyone walks in the room, it's like, my God, there's Mike Tyson, there's Evander Holyfield, and the list goes on for centuries, a couple of 100 years, right? Being the heavyweight champion, you were the baddest man on the planet. This is now a shift that we're seeing, you know what I mean? And of course, you know, Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, people like that, they still have that kind of draw, that attraction, that aura about them. You know, and of course there's people like Canelo, there's other people as well. But that's what Topuria is generating. That's the kind of person that he is. I mean, Alexander Volkanovski got into the ring, challenged him straight away. Love that about Volk. Love Volk as a person. Incredible fighter. I'm not sure that should be the next fight for Alexander Volkanovski, just because I care for the guy so much. I'm not saying he can't give a good account of himself, but I just don't want to see Volkanovski get knocked out 3 times in a row. You know what I'm saying? And that'd be awful. It'd be awful. I understand he wants to be the champ, and I understand he's taking time off, right? But Topuria is knocking everybody out. And I don't want to see that a 3rd time in a row for Volkanovski. Throw Diego Lopez in there. Throw Diego Lopez. He was the
against
backup.
Ilia.
What?
Against Ilia or against Volkanovski?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying take the title shot away from Volk. I'm just saying from a human standpoint. From a human standpoint, let's put a bit more miles on the clock of Topuria. Let's wear him down a bit. Give him another training camp. Tweak ankles, tear a couple of ligaments before Volk gets in there. And if you see this, Volk, I'm joking, but I'm only saying it because you are the effing man, and I've got nothing but the highest respect for you. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. And it's like there is also a certain aspect to, like, you know, Diego Lopez showed up to be the backup fighter for this fight. He has been waiting in the rings. He took the Dan Ige fight on, like, you know, 4 hours notice, got right back in shape, made the weight again to go and fight Brian Ortega to rectify that. Like, he's done absolutely everything that could be done, while Volkanovski, like, to his credit, has been on the side. Like, he deserved the rest after such a long time as champion, but he's been on the sidelines while Diego Lopez has been out there at the two of the biggest cards this year, making, like, real big impressions. I think it's his time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But just to completely backtrack, I'm sure if Volkanovski was to hear this, I'm sure if he was to see this, I'm sure if he was approached with that as a reality, he'd say, nah, mate, nah, I'm next. I'm bloody next. And that's because he's a fighter. So, yeah, screw it. That's what we're going to see. And if you're not good enough to beat him, you're not good enough to beat him, right? And who knows, maybe he is. He beat Max Holloway 2 or 3 times, debatably. Very close fights. 3rd one was dominant from Volkanovski, but screw it. He earned that right. He defended the belt so much. And he's what, 35, 36 now, you know? He doesn't want to wait on the sidelines. Let's talk about, is there any other stories regarding Ilia Topuria? And before I move on to Max, in the notes, anything afterwards, anything the post-fight presser? What did he say to Conor? Do we have a little video of that or anything?
Yes, I do have a video of it here. This was Conor McGregor was on Twitter calling him out, and I'm just going to drop it in the chat for Brian. But yeah, Conor McGregor was calling him out, said Conor McGregor's the best featherweight who ever lived, said to call me. Ilia Topuria did not mince words. I believe he was talking to Brett Okamoto backstage before he even got to the presser.
Well, real quick before Brian plays that video, listen, McGregor's rise was unreal. We don't need to go through it. He never defended the belt. That is one thing that kind of, you know, that's the takeaway. Max Holloway defended the belt many times. Volkanovski defended the belt many times. Now, of course, we're in the Ilia Topuria era. You know, Conor's doing his thing. He's keeping himself relevant. He's calling out Topuria and all the rest of it. So fair play. But McGregor is one of the greatest fighters that lived. Okay, simple as that. Smashed down barriers, brought in so many new fans, showed what's capable through a career of mixed martial arts. but I don't think he's the greatest featherweight that ever lived. Brian, can you roll the tape, please?
Yeah. Conor McGregor wrote, "Good little fighter, too small for anything substantial. He was getting chewed up."
I don't know what to say. I'm telling you, he's a fake. He fakes the comeback every time. Yeah. He insults everyone in the UFC. He's like, I don't care about anyone. I don't respect anyone. Bro, you're sick. You have some problems to fix in your mind, you know. You need to take some classes of respect to how to treat the people, because you're gonna end up really, really bad. When you follow this kind of values in your life, you're gonna end up really bad. So ask to God, don't cross the paths with me, never ever, because I'm gonna pick you up whenever I'm gonna see you.
Right.
Yeah. Right. It's on site.
Do we believe Ilia Topuria? There's just no way.
Do I think Ilia Topuria is going to blow up a shot at $100 million payday to beat up Conor McGregor in a grocery store? Probably not, but it sounds cool.
Yeah. Well, no, exactly. Topuria is a class act. Anytime I'm around him, you can't help but just feel. This is what I mean. Like, he's doing it a completely different way. You know, he's got the roses and everything. All his family were there. They're like a beautiful family, all dressed in black, very classy and sophisticated. He's got the king there with him. The man rolls like bloody royalty, you know, acts like royalty, dresses like royalty, great manners. He's just a good, decent person. You know what I mean? I mean, we'll see what 5 years of superstardom does to you. Wait till he gets a Lamborghini yacht and develops, a serious partying problem. We'll see, because it happens to us all.
Look at Conor before he got rich. He had all sorts of like humble and like mindful sayings that he used to say all the time, and now he's just like, "You, I'm doing coke on my boat."
Well, I never said that. You said that, but success can change people sometimes. But sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I have never reached the levels of success that these guys are, but I'm still the same old dickhead. I wish I could change, but unfortunately, you stuck with me. All right, well done once again, Topuria. Spain, let's go. The Bernabeu, 150,000 people even. I think that's what it holds, right? 150K?
Is it really that much?
Something like that, something crazy. You'd have to lose a bit of the capacity. Oh, no, the floor seats.
No.
The floor's a pitch, a football pitch. It'd be even bigger.
It'd be, it would be bigger than it could be for a soccer match, for sure. 78,297 is Bernabeu.
All right, and then you put in the floor, then, so we'll call it 80,000, 90,000, whatever. It's high thousands. That'd be insane. I just want to make sure that I'm there. Max Holloway, I think he touched on this already. He spoke about this, but it's the perfect plan. 155 pounds. He's not done. I think he's still only 32, if I'm not mistaken. 32 years old. Had an incredible run at featherweight. He's made plenty of money. He's a legend of the sport. He's a great guy. Everyone loves Max Holloway. 145. That time is done. That ship has sailed. Move on. You're getting older. The weight cuts are tougher. You've had a couple of losses. You almost became the champion again. You looked incredible against Justin Gaethje. You took his shots. You knocked him out cold. He's ranked number 2 or 3 at lightweight. What is he? I think Gaethje is 3. Holloway is 5. Step into that. There's a lot of fun fights for him at 155 pounds. There's Dan Hooker. There's Poirier. There's Gaethje. Charles Oliveira. Which, by the way, them 3 would all be rematches, which is wild.
Nuts.
Which is wild. Arman Sarukian, he fights Islam. There's nothing but big fights for him at 155 pounds. And given that he's ranked number 5 already, 1, 2 fights, Max Holloway's trying to become a champion at 155 pounds. So it's far from over. It's not over for Max. He went out on his shield against Topuria. No shame. It is what it is.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, I mean, 32 years old, we talk about it all the time. The wall for these lighter weight guys seems to be 35. So that's still 3 long years, you know, in this sport at, you know, still being able to mix it up at the highest level if history tells us anything. And he says he wants to take some time off after this one, which I really like, right? Like, you've just been knocked out for the first time ever. It's, you know, we're going into November this weekend. He says he wants to take off until July. So it's like, okay. Good. Dude, bring yourself back in the. You don't like that.
You got to be careful with the time off. People start talking shit. People start talking shit. I had a bit of time off because I had neck surgery. People were like, screw the podcast. Forget about it. Okay. I'm having surgery on Thursday. They're doing 2 surgeries on Thursday. They're doing a fusion reconstruction. They're doing another kind of fusion. I just had to speak to a healthcare professional and tell them that my will is all in place. I've had about 30 surgeries. Never once been asked about my affairs. Are they all in order? Because there's a 2% chance of death, apparently. So if we don't do a show on Thursday, save your mean tweets, because I might be dead.
There's a 2% chance you're no longer with us.
You're telling me there's a chance? There's a chance. I'm like, what the hell? Jeez,
you didn't get calls about putting your affairs in order before you had UFC fights?
No. You sign that on the contract when you sign up. But all the surgeries I've had, I've never been asked about, I forget the term that they use, but yeah, they meant my will, everything. Is there someone else that can take care of it? I'm like, yeah. Rebecca wins the lottery. Okay. I go. She doesn't have to listen to me anymore. She gets everything. And Harrington and Anthony and Brian take over the podcast. It's a win-win for everyone all around. Let's be honest.
You think it would be like a ratings boost for a little bit?
Massive. Like initially, when someone dies and like their songs got to number 1 for a bit. Like when an artist dies, they hit number 1. We
just saw it with One Direction last week.
Well, exactly. The BYM podcast will finally get its recognition after I'm done. It's funny because it's true. But wish me the best of luck. All right, this episode is sponsored by True Nutrition. Do you ever dream of designing your own proteins or green powder that is unique to your dietary needs with only the highest quality ingredients? Well, today's sponsor, True Nutrition, lets you do just that. True Nutrition was founded on relentlessly sourcing the highest quality ingredients, third-party testing those ingredients, and then first-party testing them on site to ensure further purity. They then put the powder in your hands to create your own custom powder or greens powder mix using these high-quality ingredients because they know nutrition is not a one-size-fits-all. This is truly sports nutrition designed by you. Make any protein or greens powder combination you want. Give it a flavor, a boost, even a custom name if that's what you want to do, all while watching the nutrition facts update in real time as you build and adjust. You can make it a post-workout recovery mix, a morning breakfast shake, or an overnight formula. Not sure where to begin? Well, check out their wide array of base formulas to get you started, and you can customize from there. Tweak it all you want. You want more protein? You want more carbs? You want less this and that? You want more vitamins and minerals? Just tweak it on the website. Very, very simple. True Nutrition offers a wider range of supplements from creatine to EAAs to pre-workout and electrolytes to help round out your own nutrition stack. Are you ready to dial in your nutrition with the highest quality ingredients available? Well, for a limited time, our listeners get 15% off the entire order when you use the code BELIEVE. That's 15% off your order at truenutrition.com with the promo code BELIEVE. For a limited time, listeners will get 15% off the entire order when you use code BELIEVE at checkout when you go to truenutrition.com. Nutrition is important. Quality is important. Customizing it to your exact needs is extremely important. And that is what truenutrition.com offers. And using the code BELIEVE offers a 15% discount. Should we talk about Khamzat Chimaev? Oh my God. This man's just different. It's different, right? We all saw the fight. We know what happened. Takes Whittaker down, gets a hold of him, crushes his face. Saw some memes doing the rounds, like the mountain from Game of Thrones. Have you seen that scene where he crushes the guy's head? Like this was Robert Whittaker on Saturday night. Robert's got a great sense of humor, so he wouldn't mind us talking like this. It's just unreal. Because I was having this conversation with Callum last night. I just landed back from Abu Dhabi, exhausted. But it's like his wrestling, Dad. Technically, it's good, but it's nothing groundbreaking. He's not doing anything new. But he's just so strong. and so explosive. So when you combine good technique with ridiculous power, it's just going to work. Now, let's talk. I mean, Robert Whittaker, number one. No one ever does that to Whittaker. Nobody. And you know, somewhere, Kamaru Usman's smiling right now because he did that to Usman, but he survived and then arguably won rounds 2 and 3. So I think that sets the stage for Usman versus Bilal. You know, do Usman versus Bilal, because that proves that Usman ain't done yet. Usman stepped up on short notice. Anyway, nobody's done that to Whittaker. Right? And Whittaker's extremely experienced, been in there with Yoel Romero, Israel Adesanya, you name it, he's been in there with all of them. And to get his hands around his face and to just crush it like that, that is the most ridiculous power ever. Now, Whittaker came out and said that there was he had some issues with his teeth. In fact, Brian, did you say you had a little video there?
But how do you feel health-wise? How's your teeth?
I'm all right. Like, it wasn't the jaws, the teeth. The teeth got pushed in. I've always had the kind of like loose teeth, and they got looser. So,
which moment did you actually broke your teeth? Can you remember?
Was it him squeezing or was it before?
No, it was the face crank. Like, his forearm just went straight on the bottom tooth. I didn't have a moment to turn the head or anything. It was just like, it was just on. It was on. It is what it is.
What I mean is, like, is it just like an unfortunate moment, or is it just like?
I don't know. You know, like, if I didn't have such vulnerable teeth, maybe I would have had another second to turn my head. Or maybe not. You know what I mean? It's just, I just got caught in a bad position, and the rest is history.
That's why you got to love Robert Whittaker. Because, right, listen, let's be honest. At the end of the day, we're competing. We're trying to win. We're trying to win a fight. We're trying to win us in a sport, our chosen profession, you know. And yeah, he lost, and he lost in a bad way, and it derailed his potential future title fight, crushed his teeth in. There's embarrassment. There's shame that you put on yourself. There's regret. There's all this type of stuff. There's annoyance for wasting all of this time training your goddamn ass off, pushing yourself to the absolute limits, missing birthdays with children, you know, social engagements. There's all that stuff, you know. But at the end of the day, it's our choice, and we step in there, and sometimes you win, and hopefully most of the time you win. And if you're really special, all the time you win. But sometimes you lose. And that's the way you've got to look at it. I see some people talking about bloody, when they take a loss, like the world collapsing. It's like, well, you try and do that to every person you step in there with. You're trying to do that to them. And that's how you have to look at it. And it's not a case of just dealing with the loss better, or as the kids say these days, coping. It's like, it is what it is. That's why we all love Robert Whittaker. But if you look, here's a comparison I was saying. Look at Khabib versus Conor. Again, it was a face crank, which he turned into a neck crank. So when you can't get the forearm under the chin and it's on here, you kind of pull it to the side, and it yanks the neck to the side and becomes extremely painful. Right now, with my condition, I would tap in about 0.6 seconds. But he just squeezed him straight on and collapsed his teeth and potentially his jaw. I saw some image doing the rounds about his jaw. I don't know if that's true or not, but either way, unbelievable.
Yeah, and I mean, the setup with I think it was the elbow right before too, right? Like, he elbows like to one quick elbow to the side of the jaw and then snap the crank on. And it's like, I was actually talking to my buddy who like does like a decent amount of jiu-jitsu. And that was my first question for him, was like, dude, is this just going to become the new thing? Like, guys are too good at, you know, protecting their neck and doing like, you know, basic jiu-jitsu like defense where, you know, the neck might not be available, but you can always get something around the face. And he's like, it's pretty much only Khamzat that's going to be able to consistently squeeze like that and pop someone's teeth out. That's nuts.
Yeah, look, listen, when you take the blade of the forearm, so the blade is here, the bony part at the end, and you drive that into someone's face and you squeeze. That's what I always say on commentary. It's painful. Imagine like your lips pushing up against your mouthpiece and your bottom teeth and everything, and you're squeezing like crazy, driving it in as hard as you can. And these are very, very strong people. It's agonizing. But they're trying to slip it under the chin. The problem is you do that, it generates pain, and then you're trying to squirm and move around and you're trying to fight the hands, and eventually, boop, they pop it under the chin and then it's done. It's not going to be a norm. It's not. There's a reason why it's the first time we've seen it done like that. Okay? It won't be the norm, Harrington, but it's not surprising from Khamzat. It's just not. I mean, it was crazy because last week he was very humble. Super humble. He looked like a different version of himself. I sat down with him on my YouTube channel and we did a quick interview. He looked like a professor. He had the glasses on. His energy was very calm. He was super humble at the press conference. He had the nicest things to say about Robert Whittaker. He went up to the mountains of Chechnya or Russia, was training up there at altitude. He was much, much lighter and leaner than what he usually was, but it didn't affect his power. Jesus Christ.
No, didn't seem to be wasting a ton of energy, with like getting all hyped up at the press conference, putting all that emotion into, getting the crowd fired up, because it's like, I don't know, dude, he's been in the UFC since 2020? It's now 2024. He hasn't gotten a title shot off of all those theatrics. You know what I think just guaranteed him a title shot? Face cranking Robert Whittaker's teeth out, right? That's what really matters, is like these high level performances. I think the thing, not to be a downer, but the thing with his kid earlier this year is like, that's massive. That'll change you as a person, I'm sure, to have a child with major health complications. And I can see why the theatrics and the pomp and circumstance.
No. You got to finish your sentence. Maybe I missed this. What happened with his child?
So if I'm not mistaken, he had a newborn son this year who had to have like 2 kidney surgeries in like the first few months of their life or something like that. And he talked about it this last week about being super depressed, super down, not really finding the motivation to get up and to get up and go. And it's like, that's understandable when you're dealing with something major like that with your tribe. I've seen it affect friends of mine in really major ways. So it's like to kind of put all that, like the pomp, the circumstance, the nonsense, the character to the side, and just commit to, I'm here to get belts, I'm here to get money, I'm here to prove that I'm the best in the world. Like, that is a Khamzat I can get behind.
Oh, absolutely. And he was humble, and he was calm, and he was in control until he walked out, and then he just sprinted to the octagon. I was like, he's still in there. You know what I mean? Because you want to control yourself a little bit. When you're in public and you're doing interviews, you want to, you want to refine yourself as you go through life. You don't always want to be whatever version that you were. You always want to be changing, and you always want to be evolving, and you always want to be improving as a person as you go along. People say, "Oh, you've changed." Yeah,
that's the point.
For the better. That's the point. I used to be a dickhead. I used to do this. Now I don't as much. Still do sometimes. No. So you want to see that growth as a person, that maturity, but you still want Khamzat Chimaev to be Khamzat Chimaev inside the octagon. That's what he's here for. And when he walked out and he just sprinted, I thought, oh God, here we go. And I didn't think he would change his approach, because if he changed his approach and paced himself, it wouldn't be Khamzat Chimaev. It wouldn't be what makes him so successful in the first place. And of course, he didn't do that. It was just unreal. It really was. Now, I guess the conversation now immediately turns to, does he fight Dricus du Plessis next? We'll talk about Magomed Ankalaev versus Rakic in a second, of course. But what you want to do is, when you're trying to get a title fight, you want to make a statement. You want to give people a reason to want to see that fight. You want to have those holy shit moments, like we saw from Max Holloway versus Justin Gaethje. Gaethje was next in line, and sure, Max beat him, but he didn't just beat him. We got that holy shit moment. We got an incredible performance. We got Max Holloway saying to the world, it's undeniable. Give me the shot against Topuria. Well, Sean Strickland's piping up, and I always had some things to say. If you can find his tweets, Brian, bring them up. And yeah, Sean did beat Paulo Costa.
Split decision. Garbage split, but still.
Split decision. Never defended the belt. I'm trying to be careful because I don't want it to sound like I'm ripping on Sean, because I'm not. But then you've got fresh meat, you've got fresh blood, you've got the undefeated record, you've got the domination of almost everyone that he fights, and then you've got him taking out one of the staples of the middleweight division and just destroying him, doing it easily, and giving us something we've never seen, and just crushing the man's face. So Strickland said, understand one thing, I am next in line. It's been said, it's been written. January, Feb, me and Drix du Plessis are scrapping. Go back to Chechnya and wait a few months. UAE. You're not allowed in Chechnya. But hey, crypto scams while you wait. I mean, Sean's not bothered. He's not scared of talking a bit of shit.
No, I mean, I think Sean Strickland wants to fight Khamzat at some point. Like, he fully expects to fight him, no?
I mean, yeah. I mean, they're in the middleweight division, and they're like top guys. I asked Khamzat last week in my interview about Strickland. I said, because that video came out where he said, you're better than everyone, and then apparently he tapped you out or whatever. He's like, yes, I tap out Strickland many times. I'm like, oh, really? What'd you get him with? With choke, armbar, kimura, many things. I beat him on feet, I beat him on ground. I was like, all right. Sean saying it's been written, it's been said. I do believe it has been said. Yep. Right? I do believe Dana said, right, that's what they're going to do next. But until contracts are signed, anything's possible. Things do change.
Yeah, I mean, he's saying he wants to fight him in January or February. We know where February is going to be. It's in Sydney, and you're already complaining about going to Australia. What are we doing? What are we doing, Sean?
Yeah. Anyway, well done. Khamzat Chimaev once again give us major talking points. He's just I like Khamzat Chimaev being in the UFC, right? And we like good guys. And yeah, we spoke about him maturing and evolving. But I also like bad guys. I also like people that, shit, you don't want to fuck with this guy, and they love him in that part of the world. Oh my God. We went to this Irish bar attached to the hotel, just having a couple of beers with the boys from TNT, Adam and Nick.
Nice.
And there was these girls came in, right? And they're like major UFC fans. And, girls don't really care, in my opinion, too much. And they were just going on and on about Khamzat Chimaev. Yes, he's the best. He's going to kill this guy. Yes, no one can mess with him. And they weren't saying it like that. They were swearing their head off, And these were like, they weren't bad-looking girls either. They weren't like big, massive, ugly, like, I don't know, ugly. They were attractive ladies, They
weren't women you would trust to work on your carburetor?
They weren't, no. They weren't women that were working at McDonald's either. They were like women. They might have been prostitutes, let's be honest. There's probably a good chance.
Is that, do you think that's part of their sales pitch? Me, I smash like Khamzat.
Well, they were saying smash a lot. Not to me, but they were talking about smashing, smash like Khamzat a lot. Anyway. Yeah. All right, well, I guess we'll go through the rest of the card in just a second. Let's break it up a touch. What have you got in the world of non-MMA? Or should I say in the world?
In the world outside of MMA. So this is kind of in the world, though, because Donald Trump went on Joe Rogan's podcast. Of course, the famed color commentator for the UFC. He said,
and the biggest podcaster on planet Earth.
Yeah.
34 million views on YouTube alone right
in
now.
like 2 days.
Wow. Can we just get 1% of that? Like the video, bloody subscribe. Come on, Rogan's the man. Okay, help a brother out, guys. Come on, what was?
I mean, dude, when you have these,
listen, 3 hours, Donald Trump, Joe Rogan. I haven't seen it. I'm sure there was a lot of good stuff said, but where are you going?
I was gonna, so basically, the biggest takeaway, like one of the biggest things people are talking about from his interview on Rogan, is that he's considering doing away with the federal income tax altogether. He says that, with the help of Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency, aka Doge, he can cut enough waste out of the budget. Right. I think Elon Musk said that it was 6 trillion or 7 trillion last night. He said he could knock 2 or 3 trillion off the top. With that kind of savings, Trump says he could fund the entire federal government on tariffs and a slightly higher sales tax.
Well, I don't know the ins and outs of all those numbers, but I like the sound of no federal income tax. I like that a lot. And, well, I just mentioned Abu Dhabi. They don't have it. Dubai, they don't have it. And there's a few other countries that don't have tax. And they're very nice places. Now, granted, the ones I just mentioned there have tremendous oil money. Brian?
Yeah, but America has insane resources that we could be tapping into to alleviate some of that. Also, taxation is theft. I just wanted to come on to say that.
Well. Yeah, so you pay your federal tax, you pay your state tax, which goes up every year in California, which is wild. And state tax used to be a deduction off your federal tax, but not anymore. So I get double tax now. Then you pay your sales tax on top of everything that you buy, which is 10%. Then you pay tax on everything, gasoline. What else do you pay tax on? Property tax.
You pay
say you're a homeowner.
Working?
What do you mean?
You just pay taxes for working.
It's just,
yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Road tax in the UK. I don't know if it's a similar thing out here. Just taxes on taxes
Schools.
on taxes on taxes. It's ridiculous. It's crazy.
Theft.
Didn't you guys go to war for taxation without representation?
Much less than we are currently being beaten over the head for today. Yes.
Yeah. It was like a 2% tax. We were like, nah, we'll fight you.
I'm not the best guy to start debating all these economic problems. I don't know if you know this, but
we're going to the Bay. We're throwing tea in the Bay. Come on. Come on, Mike.
Listen, I'll do it. If I don't have to pay taxes this year, I'm joining up. I'm signing up. 1776, I'll be there. I'll go for the red coats immediately. If it's going to save me $1 or $2, come on, let's go. I hate it. The tax bill comes through every year, and you always have a kind of a guess in your head because, the way it works for me, I'm self-employed. I get paid, and then at the end of the year, I pay taxes. It doesn't come out before, like a lot of people, and I'm like, I think it's going to be this amount. And then it comes in, and it's this amount, and you're like, God damn, because you're always looking at it through rose-colored spectacles. But on the taxation thing and replacing it with tariffs, I saw someone on the news this morning talking about it and said that it's not quite achievable. However, if they raised sales tax to about 13%, then it would be achievable. Well, in California, I think sales tax and everything, if I'm not mistaken, is 10% anyway. So if you're going to not federally tax me and just up sales tax to 13%, I think that's tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, that's, it's the issue then, I guess, is like, all right, if tariffs are making stuff much more expensive and you add a 13% sales tax on top of that, it's like, what we don't like Biden for is how expensive groceries have gotten. Is this just going to make groceries more expensive, or are we actually going to get American manufacturing again and have some cheaper products made in America?
That is the end result of having hefty tariffs on imports, is we move the industries back into America.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, remember the Pakistani guy driving the sick Lexus on $6 rides? He's flying. He's having a whale of a time. They seem to have it figured out over there. I saw that they had a big rally in Madison Square Garden. I keep seeing a ton of people complaining. I saw Dana White there, and I was very impressed because I flew back from Abu Dhabi. Still can't speak because I'm so tired. So Dana left Abu Dhabi, flew straight to New York, went on the Trump rally. Who else did I see? I saw Kill Tony on there as well.
Tony Hinchcliffe, the golden pony.
Absolutely hilarious. He killed it.
Oh, he murdered.
Oh, yeah.
And I keep seeing all these comics trashing him, and I'm like, nah, dude, you guys just aren't as funny as Tony. I don't know what to tell you.
Listen, number one, there's nothing to get offended by. It's jokes. He's having a laugh, okay? Secondly, that shit was hilarious.
Oh, he killed.
Press play, Brian.
People are particularly mad about this part.
Go on.
A lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. Again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody. There's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys...
Yeah, I tell you, Kill Tony's hilarious, man. When I went to the Comedy Mothership, Rogan's place, he stole the show. I mean, there were some very, very funny people. Rogan was hilarious as well. But I laughed so hard at Tony Hinchcliffe. Oh, my God. Oh, I didn't realize how funny he was. I mean, I'd seen his show, Kill Tony. It's funny. I made a dick out of myself on there once. I've seen the show. I've been on the show. But when I saw him that was the first time I'd seen him do stand-up. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I remember I saw him for the first time at the Comedy Store when the Legion of Skanks did a takeover night there, and I was completely blown away. I saw him actually opening for Rogan at like a giant theater, and I was super excited because I heard Joey Diaz was opening, and this guy Tony Hinchcliffe, who I'd never heard of before, comes out instead, and he blew the doors off the place. Yeah. Like the guy's a killer. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, a lot of people complaining about some of the jokes. As I said, they're just bloody words, guys. They're just jokes. Get over it. Get over it. Stop being so bloody, getting offended at everything.
Some of them were jokes. Some of them I was like, when he started talking about the Clintons and was like, "Hey guys, just so you know, I'm not depressed." I was like, I don't know if that's a joke. That was good though.
Yeah.
Not a joke.
What was I going to say? Explain to me, Brian, why are people drawing similarities between Trump having a big rally there and Adolf Hitler having a big rally?
This is so...
It wasn't Hitler.
It was the Nazi Party.
Oh, sorry, the Nazi Party. Pardon me. The head of the Nazi Party. I got my...
Well, it was
Nazi
an American Nazi
wrong.
Party during the 40s.
Say again?
There was an American Nazi Party.
Oh, was there really?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. They actually had summer camps, like Hitler Youth style summer camps out on Long Island and in New Jersey, where anyone of German descent would be allowed to go there for free. And they were essentially just raising the Hitler Youth in the summer times in America.
Yeah. So because they did a rally there and Trump did one there, it's like, whoa.
Turns out they're exactly the same, Mike.
Wow.
And people wonder, I'm on the
Hold on.
shit.
Isn't Kamala Harris out there doing Trump rallies every day in different locations?
Well, Kamala's not
the election's about 8 days away.
Kamal's not doing as many as Trump is at the moment, but
she's not doing interviews.
Well, no,
she did both doing rallies.
She did that big thing over the weekend where, it was reported multiple times that Beyonce would be performing at her rally. Then Beyonce came out, introduced her, and did not perform, and you could see people walking out the door as Kamala was getting on stage to talk.
Yeah. Anyway, I saw Dana there, though, and number one, he gave a great speech. And secondly, I was more impressed with, I'm here feeling like shit. You're on stage, you're killing it in a speech, for Donald Trump. But all right, granted, he probably went on the private jet, probably had a nice.
I was going to say,
but I'm not complaining. Emirates Airways.
Ooh.
Oh my God, business class Emirates Airways. We had a full bar on the way there. When we flew out there on the way there, because it was an evening flight. It was like a bloody party. I was on there with Dan Helly, a couple of other guys that I know. And then there's a big bar area with couches and everything. And everyone got changed into the pajamas that they provided on the plane. I never did because they're not very flattering. And there was these women on there, that's exactly what it looks like. Yeah, that's the bar.
I'd start drinking again.
There's these women on there, and they were big old girls, and they were hilarious. They had the pajamas on. I'm like, you get talking. You're like, what are you doing in Dubai? They're like, oh, we're here to find a rich man. We're going to turn up to and we're going to find a rich man. Do you know what I mean?
You could probably picked a different country.
Yeah. No, it was great. It was like, I'm staying on this plane forever. I'm never getting off. All right, enough of that. That was a very short-lived, non-MMA stuff, but it was a politically driven thing, and we don't like to talk about politics. I don't know much about politics. Give me one more. All
right, let's see if I can find a something kind of silly in here. This one, it's not exactly political, but did you catch the singer on C-SPAN?
I did
trying
not
to do the national
I don't
anthem.
even know what C-SPAN is.
C-SPAN is, it's a political station, but they were doing some kind of debate, and they had a singer come
with the politics.
Oh no, this isn't politics.
This is not political.
So painful. Oh my God, this is so painful to watch.
They had a singer come out and do the national anthem. She was not, let's just say she wasn't aware that she was doing it on live television, as you can tell when she has a bit of an
perilous fight for the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming.
Not that bad.
It's I fucked it up. Can I go back? Please?
Live on cable TV.
Now I get it.
I got too nervous. Gave proof through the night.
It's not the worst thing I've ever heard. I mean, yeah, all right. She was like, I messed up, whatever. But so what? She did mess up. She sounded like crap. She addressed it. It's live. Sometimes that's the best way of handling it if you're live. Just roll with the goddamn punches. Like when we were doing Power Slap, and I'm not suggesting in any way, shape, or form that was a good performance, but as a man that cannot hit a single tone, fair play. She had the balls, maybe too many. When we were doing Power Slap, we have a button that when we're commentating, you have a button that you push for cough, if you want to cough on air, obviously. You have a button that you push for talk back if you want to speak to the producers and you can communicate without the audience hearing.
It won't go out, yeah.
So I pressed cough because I wanted to cough, and then it jammed and it stuck. And then we went to a working man, which is a camera just on us, and we're looking at the audience on TV and we're talking to them about whatever just happened. And the button, I don't know if it was the humidity or the heat or something. I'm talking away and there's no sound. And I can't hear myself. Dan Helly can't hear me. No one at home can hear me. So I'm like, I just power slapped the shit out of it about 3 times. And then it came on. I'm like, oh, you just got to roll with it. You're live. But yeah, all right.
Still not as bad as Fergie.
No. She's not good. Right. No more choices of non-MMA for Harrington. I'm sorry, Harrington. I'm going to have to start digging deep in the future. All right. Let's go to the past Saturday or weekend. Magomed Ankalaev, Aleksandar Rakić. Right. We're not going to go through the fight by fight because we don't need to. Right. Rakić was throwing a lot of kicks, having success with those. Magomed Ankalaev won the fight clearly, in my opinion. Big fan of Rakić. He's a tremendous fighter. Ankalaev was too much. The left hand that he was throwing was beautiful. It was piston-like. It was like a laser. It couldn't miss. But there were singular shots. I would have liked to have seen it throw up if I'm going to be critical. If I'm going to be critical, he should have followed it up. But it was, but it's still a good performance. Still got the job done against a tough guy. Coming into this one, the narrative is, should he fight Alex Pereira next? And I mean, he continued the win streak. What is he now? 23-1, something like that, I think.
Something like that.
Which is crazy. Beating a lot of top guys. He's got to be the next guy. The only thing that it didn't have was the statement. There was no statement. You know what I'm saying? To be fair, there's nobody else at 205 that is like more deserving, but it wasn't like a holy shit moment. It wasn't what Khamzat gave us. It wasn't what Shara gave us, which we'll get to in a minute, because that was ridiculous. Or even in the main event, Topuria, it was a good win over a really good opponent, but it wasn't anything jaw-dropping.
No, I think the statement, quote unquote, that was made there is that he fought Aleksandar Rakić, and as far as I can remember, not one takedown was attempted, right? Like, this is a guy who wants to stand up, who wants to kickbox, who may or may not have had problems with grapplers in the past. This is a guy who Ankalaev said, okay, I can stand with this guy. I can trade. He's gonna throw low kicks similar to how Alex Pereira throws low kicks to set up his boxing, and I'm gonna take all those, keep coming forward, and get a dominant win without ever going to the wrestling. So that part I really respected and liked out of his game. But yeah, obviously, like you don't walk away from a 29-28 unanimous decision where Aleksandar Rakić, for whatever reason, was primarily playing keep away in the third round. And come away from that saying, yeah, that guy obviously undeniable contender for next guy for the title. You just can't say that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess in Magomed's defense, when somebody's constantly backing away and circling, it's hard to follow up with extra shots because they're not there. So there's no point throwing them because you're just wasting your energy because you can clearly see he's backing off. He is the next guy. He's got to be the next guy. He's not really the heaviest wrestler anyway. He does have wrestling in his back pocket. Of course, he's Dagestani. I'm just thinking, though, that version of Magomed Ankalaev that we saw Saturday night, I think that's a pretty easy night's work for Alex Pereira. I just do, and that's, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's underestimating Aleksandar Rakić. Rakić is not an easy man to beat. He's really good, really tough, really effective as a striker. But I just think, I think Alex Pereira watching that is like, sure, okay, I'll take that. I think he's off on a movie set soon, isn't he? What's the movie?
It's called Onslaught. It's by the same director who just made like all those new Godzilla movies, like Godzilla vs. Kong, Godzilla New or Kong New Empire or whatever. That guy, he started with like low budget indie horror films, and he's going back to those roots with Alex Pereira as the quote unquote butcher. He's going to be playing a character called the Butcher, a villain in a new horror movie.
Yeah. Probably a guy that doesn't have too many lines.
No, you're thinking like you're Michael Myers type, dude.
Chama. That's it. That's the entire dialogue.
Could you imagine just stabbing someone? Chama.
Instead of stabbing someone, he's just using left hooks and killing them. I don't think Pereira's too concerned after that Saturday night. That sounds very disrespectful to Magomed Ankalaev. He's a tremendous fighter. He is. But it wasn't a holy shit moment. It wasn't one of those fights where you're clamoring to see it and going, right, this is the one. This is the test. Holy shit. But styles make fights, and Pereira wouldn't be backing up, just try and kind of counter myself on what I said. Pereira wouldn't be backing up like that. So maybe Ankalaev would follow up with more shots, would string together more combinations, So yeah, I mean, listen, every fight is a different fight. But fair play to Magomed Ankalaev, 23-1, unbelievable record. And there's not much more to say about it, really. Is there any news around that fight?
I just had one, like my big talking point walking away from that fight was in between rounds 2 and 3, Rakic's corner was like, we are for sure ahead 2 rounds to nothing. Just don't get knocked out in this round. Like
is that what he said?
His corner told him that in no uncertain terms. You are up 2-0. Whatever you do, right? Just stay safe. We got this one in the bag. Don't even sweat it. And it's like you could not have been more far off. Like Rakic did win the first round on all 3 judges' scorecards. Lost the second round on all 3 judges' scorecards. If there was a round you had to go for it, it was that one. And I feel like his coaches set him up for failure there.
Yeah. I mean, listen, as coaches or fans or friends, you always look at the positives of what people do. If you're connected to somebody, their big moments are amplified in your brain. Okay, it's like, oh, that's great. And the moments that their opponent has are diminished in your mind, right? But still in a close fight, and I had Rakic winning round 1. So it was 1-1 going into the third, according to the judges, as you say. You've always got to go for it. You got to put it on him now. Say, right, okay, better round. Round 2 was better than 1. You've got the rhythm. You've got the timing. Go for it. Let's put him to bed now. Let's finish him. Let's make that statement. Let's call out Pereira. Let's get the job done in style. Let's all go home. Because every second that you stand in there against somebody like Aleksandar Rakić or a world-class opponent is dangerous. And anything can happen unless you're literally just going to dance around on your feet and disengage for 5 minutes, and which the referee should step in and tell you off for that and force you to engage. But unless you're going to do that, you're always in danger. These are big men with 4-ounce gloves on. Anything can happen. That was terrible advice. I never caught that one. I wasn't watching on TV, but I am very surprised by that.
Yeah, that was my biggest takeaway. That's it. That's all I got on that fight.
All right. Well done to him. Right, Sharabullet, unreal.
Ooh,
Sharabullet, man. Let's just cut to the fucking chase. Sharabullet with the spinning back fist to the elbow. I mean,
nuts.
Amazing. Talk about a highlight reel finish. I said this on the post show for TNT. That's going to be a new move added to the video game. 100%.
Has to be.
Today, every gym, everyone's trying it. All right, let's have a look. Boom. Momentum one way. Use the momentum back. Spin that way for the back fist. Boom. And then you woof. Beautiful.
I'll tell you right now, I can already hear the Who playing under that. Like, that's going to be a staple of the UFC intro video going forward.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's certainly worthy, that's for sure. Yeah, no, it was amazing. On the night as well when he did it, the noise in the arena, everyone was like, wow, for obvious reasons. Still undefeated. What's he now, 15-0, something like that, I think. Undefeated. But Armin Petrosian as well is a really good kickboxer. He's a good kickboxer. And he was putting it on him in the first round. He was putting it on him. They both went to work. It was a great way to start the main card. 2 high-level strikers with 4-ounce gloves on, throwing nothing but hands and feet. You know, beautiful fight, great performance, and just punctuated with an incredible finish. I bumped into Shara a couple of times when I was there. He doesn't really speak English, so we couldn't get into too much. You know what I mean? It was just niceties. Good to see you. Hey, my brother, you know, that type of stuff.
Did you see his wicked eye injury? Luckily, it is on his blank eye already.
Oh, I mean, could a man look any more badass? I mean, look at that dude right there. Look at that. I mean,
he's literally a pirate.
Yeah, he is. The last pirate. Unreal. I've got kind of a funny story.
Yeah.
It's not the most flattering. As human beings, we all have to poop.
Okay. Everybody poops. I read a book about that once.
It's true. Everyone does it. It's wild. You don't really talk about it. Anyway, so I run backstage because I had to go. And when you got to go, you got to go. And anyway, I go in the toilet backstage and I'm sitting there doing my thing. And then the door opens. Is anyone in here? Security. Is anyone in here? I'm like, yeah, me. And they're like, right, well, I never said my name. I said, right, well, finish what you're doing in about 5 seconds or you're going to be trapped in here for 15 minutes. And I recognized the voice. I said, oh, it's me. It's oh, right, Mike. Well, look, listen, Khamzat Chimaev's making his walk in a minute, so either get out real quick or you're going to be trapped in there for a bit. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm just in the middle of my business. He's like, all right, no worries. So anyway, finish doing what I'm doing. And I get to the door and like I open it up and they're there. Like, what they do is before a fight, you leave the locker room and you advance to different stages before you're ready, you know, and they'll hold you somewhere for like, sometimes it's 4 or 5 minutes, and he was right by the curtain where you walk out and then you're visible to the arena. Well, where the toilets was when you opened, immediately there was the curtain. You know what I'm saying? So they were there for ages. You know, could you imagine the cameras are on them and everything, and then I walk out. Oh, hey, what's up? Oof, don't go in there, lads. Give it a couple of minutes. You know,
toilet paper stuck to your shoe.
Yeah, no, I know exactly. So like. The door I was just peeping through the door, you know what I mean? Just having a little look when it was a good time to go. Anyway, I don't know why that just popped in my head. I'm a human being and we do human things. So that was the main card of UFC 308.
I was just going to say, for Sharabullet's credit, I saw a lot of people were like questioning him heading into this fight. A lot of people thought Petrosian was going to be like a real nice test. I saw that as like a pretty common theme amongst MMA gamblers who are into underdogs. He like not and I mean, because this is a guy who started with some big knockouts and then, you know, a couple decisions in his last couple fights, and I feel like people kind of soured on him a little bit. The hype train for Sharabullet is pumping again. Did you see it? Is he reacting to his call out?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, he called him out. Go on, play the video for the fans that haven't seen it, Brian, if you can pull it up. But look, listen, Sharabullet is, what is he? I'm just looking at his record right now. I think he's 14-0 now.
15-0. You were right.
15-0. 12 knockouts, right? How many in the UFC? 4 in the UFC, 4-0 in the UFC with 2 knockouts, 2 decisions.
I just put in the chat.
He's got a mystique about him. He's got a beautiful style, right? He's obviously got some originality to him, you know, and he's got a large following. I'm telling you, these fighters out there outside of America, I live in America, you live in America, it's largely an American sport. It's crazy to see how this, because, you know, when I fly to all these different places, it's amazing to see the growth of the sport and the crazy amount of fans that these people have. You know, like when we got back to the hotel after the fights on Saturday night, it sounded like, you know, like a soccer game. Crazy chants, insane chants. And it was Shara pulling up outside of the hotel to walk in. And there was like thousands, Shara. And then the same thing for Khamzat. And it was so loud. Do you know what I mean? The amount of fans that these guys have, and the amount of passion and the following that they have, it's insane. It's crazy. So this guy's 15-0. Of course he's going to call out Israel Adesanya.
I'm the best striker in this division. I'm smash Israel Adesanya.
Keep my name out your fucking... What the fuck did I do? Why you say me for? I'm like, what do you say me for?
I love it when 50 Cent does that. Yeah, no, listen, I get his point. You know, he's like, bro, I'm just chilling at home watching the fights. But you're Israel Adesanya. And he wants what you've had. And he wants what Dricus du Plessis has. Okay? And how do you get that? By winning big fights. That's all it is. It's just business, brother. No problem. So that is review of UFC 308. Pretty good, I think. What one of the best pay-per-views recently? I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, well, I'm not going to disparage any of the other pay-per-views, but there was certainly, you know, there was exciting finishes on this one, and even the fights that didn't go to finish, you know, like for instance, the Dan Ige versus Lerone Murphy fight, like that was an absolute.
We never even spoke about that.
Huh.
Yeah, sorry. Lerone Murphy deserves a special shout out there because Dan Ige is not an easy man to beat.
No.
Right? Lerone Murphy went out there, got the job done. There was tense moments because I wasn't sure. I was hoping, listen, we all love Dan Ige. I'm a big fan. But Lerone's from Manchester, you know what I mean? And he's a great guy as well. That third round, there was a bit of control time for Dan Ige, quite a lot of control time. Then Lerone got up near the end and landed some shots. So it's like, which version of the judges going to score more? The control or the little bit of damage? Because it wasn't like he almost killed him or anything. They went with the damage, which is what they should do. Round 1 was good. Round 2 was good. I saw Lerone going for takedowns, right, which is a definite evolution of his game. I saw Lerone almost get a triangle, almost get an armbar, you know, because before that he was just kind of a striker with good takedown defense. So he's evolving the game, not afraid to go to the ground with Dan Ige either, a good black belt. So really, really good win. He joins the likes of Diego Lopez, Bryce Mitchell, Movsar Evloev. They're the last 3 guys to beat Dan Ige. So for Lerone now to be in that kind of, you know, community, to be surrounded by people like that, is he ranked? He should be ranked. If he's not.
So Ige was 14. Oh, yeah, Lerone is 12.
Yeah, so he's going to be number 12 then.
No, this will go up. I mean, he was number 12 coming into this fight.
Oh.
The rankings haven't been updated yet, so you got to assume he'll bump up above, you know, probably Giga Chikadze and Calvin Kattar.
Well, let's have a look in the
UFC rankings.
Is it welterweight?
Featherweight.
Featherweight, way off. Where is Danny? Oh, Danny was 14. Lerone's 12. Yeah, so he probably won't progress.
You don't think so at all?
No. I don't think so. I know you put something in the notes about the rankings. This seems like a natural way to bring it up because I said not to talk about it because it was so last week, if you will. Lerone was 12. Dan Ige was 14. Essentially what he did, this is the problem with fighting backwards in terms of ranked opponents, you're defending your spot. Above him is Giga Chikadze. Giga just lost a fight. Lerone just won a fight. So maybe there's a discussion there.
And,
maybe you could go on a win streak. Maybe that bumps you up. Maybe if people above you, they lose. So you could take their spot without having to fight them. But you understand what I'm saying? He essentially was defending the number 12 ranking there.
Right, but I mean, I think that's Dana's problem, right? Is like, you know, if guys are quote unquote defending a spot and put on a performance like he did against somebody like Dan Ige because he's staying active, that should reward him more than a guy who's sitting at home on the couch not defending his ranking, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
but
for instance,
if he wins like 3 fights in a row, or if he wins multiple fights in a row, it's just another number on that streak. Nobody's going to go, oh, well, he was just defending his spot in that first.
No, for sure. Well, it's called momentum. You keep building momentum. It's undeniable. So go on, the ranking stuff. I saw you put in about the AI thing in Mark Zuckerberg.
Right.
Don't know if I mentioned it. I was just in Abu Dhabi. I didn't see all that stuff.
No. So he's talking about it going forward. The idea is it needs to be taken out of the hands of the MMA media, according to Dana White, right? Like, for instance, Max Holloway, this one was a glaring omission. Max Holloway was at number 10 for about 6 months after he beat Justin Gaethje, where it's like, Justin
we spoke about that on the show.
Right. The other one was the Khalil Roundtree not moving up despite a gutsy performance defeat to Pereira. So the idea Dana has is let's take it out of the media's hands entirely and let's bring in Mark Zuckerberg, have him create like an AI model for us that can take over the rankings. And I mean, I don't know how smart of a computer you would have to be, right? But if you're looking at Calvin Kattar on a 3-fight losing streak at number 10 and Lerone Murphy undefeated and taking out Dan Ige, you'd have to, I'd assume the AI would put Lerone Murphy ahead of Calvin Kattar, but the media won't for whatever reason.
Well, off the top of my head, I didn't realize that Calvin Kattar was on a 3-fight losing streak and Lerone Murphy's on a 15-fight win streak, undefeated. So yeah, to the point that you just said, I fully agree. I don't know why they've got Calvin Kattar ahead of him. That's bizarre. Granted, the people he's lost to are probably very, very high guys. Without looking at his record, who were the people that beat him recently?
It was Josh Emmett. I know the latest one was Aljamain Sterling, and in between that, it was Arnold Allen got the win over him.
Yeah, so all good guys, and they're, by the way, ranked 7, 8, and 9. So he's in at 10, which makes sense there. But Lerone just beating Dan Ige on a 15-fight win streak. I think the idea of using AI is because there's going to be no biases, right? I'm not here to defend the media because I never do. You know what I mean? But I don't necessarily know if they're doing it out of being biased. In fact, I'm pretty sure in saying that they're just making dumb decisions. I guess with an AI algorithm, which would be very hard to come up with, but if you put in the necessary ingredients and reasons for it and stipulations, and you put all these different things into the pot, and an algorithm can come up with something. Yeah, I mean, listen, why not? I mean, they can pump all the right shit to the top of my Instagram feed. I look at one thing and all of a sudden I am inundated with it. We went to Paris. I'm still getting Paris clips and people moving to Paris and houses for sale in Paris and this and that. I haven't been there in 2 weeks, Maybe it's going to take them a while to update it because I guarantee my algorithm is all going to be things to do in Abu Dhabi, people enjoying themselves in Abu Dhabi. You know what I mean? In a few days, it'll be Abu Dhabi-ness all over my feed.
I keep getting hit with the cheapest things to do on Fremont Street. It's like, I never want to go back there ever. Please stop advertising this to me.
I hate Fremont Street.
It's the worst.
It's the worst.
It's the worst place on the planet. It's worse than all the worst places in India.
I don't know about the worst place on the planet, but it's certainly one of the worst places in Las Vegas. I get it. There's lots of nice lights. And when you look at it, if you've never, Brian, pull up an image of Fremont Street so if no one knows what we're talking about. Because I remember the first time I went there, it's old school Las Vegas and you got like some of the old original casinos and stuff like that. So there's a bit of nostalgia there. And it certainly has an older feel. And that's a polite way of saying a bit of a rundown feel. And you're also in the middle of, you walk 30 yards the wrong direction. There's a lot of crackheads. There's a lot of homeless people. There's a lot of unsavory characters. Let's put it like that. So yeah, there you go. You know, and you got that light show at the top, and it's cool.
Free concert series.
For a second, you look at it, you go, right, okay. Why are we here again? When the Las Vegas Strip is down there about a mile away, and it's got these $15 billion hotels with insane attractions, world-class restaurants, and just entertainment that will blow your mind.
What do you mean, Mike? You don't want to stay at a hotel with a White Castle on the corner?
Yeah, exactly. I think I've stayed there.
Same.
I think I have stayed there. Oh dear. Right, what were we talking about?
Well, I think the big thing that we'd be remiss to touch on, not to touch on, would be Francis Ngannou versus Renan Ferrer, the PFL Battle of the Giants, I believe they called it, in Saudi Arabia. Missed that last week.
Battle of the Giants, which delivered in a tiny pay-per-view purchase, if I do believe.
Yeah.
So Francis Ferrer sold about 10,000 pay-per-views. It generated approximately 500K in pay-per-view revenue. Ferrera's purse was 2 million, and Ngannou's was 8. What else is it saying there?
8 for this, 12 for the next, plus a $2 million signing bonus. So they're into Francis for $22 million for 2 fights, and one of those fights delivered 10,000 pay-per-view buys. For reference, Ngannou versus Stipe 1 had 350,000 pay-per-view buys.
So they lost $9.5 million on this fight?
On just the main event.
On just the main event alone. Look, listen, Francis was amazing. Francis went out there, couple of calf kicks, took him down, got on top, ground and pound. That was it. You know, thunderous blows, knocked him out. Well done to him. Congratulations. Amazing. Yeah, but 10,000 pay-per-view buys, I don't have to explain. That's not good. That's not good at all, you know. So this is the thing, you know. I mean, how much longer then can they sustain losing that amount of money? How much longer?
I mean, I don't know, man. If it's the Saudis, probably until 30-57 with the amount of money they have.
Well, yeah. Are they bankrolling everything though?
I mean, it happened there. It was you know, part of the Riyadh season and all that. So it's like, and I know that they did buy certain stake in the PFL. So I would assume, but
I have a question. How
Please.
long is Riyadh season?
I don't know. It's kind of like
7-8 years or so.
It's kind of like the rainy season in Clitheroe, which never ends. Okay, rainy season in Clitheroe or England, it's constant. It's a constant thing. Look, listen, well done to Francis Ngannou. I saw his post-fight speech afterwards as well. He was very emotional, obviously, given what happened with his late son, and very, very happy for him. Very happy for him. So I don't want to shit on him at all. But yeah, you know, selling pay-per-views on fights, selling fights on pay-per-view. It's a tough business. It's a really, really tough business. It's not easy in this day and age. Speaking of Francis Ngannou, who was coached up until quite recently by Iron Mike Tyson, who, of course, soon will be facing Jake Paul. There was some footage of him came out recently. I saw him dropping somebody in sparring. Oh, here we go.
Nice left hook. Up.
What's good for today?
Yeah.
I truly believe.
You sure?
Yeah, me
yes.
too.
You fucking sure?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. You sure? Yeah. With me, it's all right?
Yes. Let's do this. You did great.
We're done. You sure?
Yes.
Yeah. Trust me. I got a lot in.
Tyson fired up there, man. 58 years old, right? He's a beast. You know, we've all talked a mad amount of shit about Jake Paul fighting him. And it's ridiculous, and it's nonsense, and it's stupid. But I still think he's got a round up to him where he's going to be dangerous. And certainly looking at that one sparring partner was not having a good time. That's for damn sure. I also saw another video where I don't know what he was doing in the gym, but his coach was going on at him going, oh, that's the strongest you've looked. Oh, yeah. Well,
this is the strongest I've ever seen you.
Yeah?
Yeah, the strongest I've ever, and I know you since you're 13. I think this impressed the shit out of me. Nothing impresses me. You know, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I don't lie. I was worried about him traveling here, traveling there. He's not getting. I can sleep now at night. This is great.
Well, that is great, and it is good to see. And it gives me hope that he can be the man to knock out Jake Paul, because it's not like Jake Paul's some incredible boxer. He's doing his thing and he's improving. Don't worry, we're not going on about Jake Paul. I'm talking about Mike Tyson. See, the thing is, last time Mike Tyson fought, right, he was 38, so it was 20 years ago against Kevin McBride, and it wasn't a good performance. Against Lennox Lewis, he lost. That was 2002, 22 years ago. And the problem is what we see, what people talk about with Conor McGregor, for example. Mike Tyson was a global superstar, right, with hundreds of millions of dollars that he apparently blew. I'm sure these days he's done very well because he's kind of reinvented himself. So I think that's what that coach was talking about there, you know, because when you've got that much money and you don't care and you're that powerful and you're that dangerous and you're in your prime and you're surrounded by yes men, and he used to have like the crocodile guy that was one of his head entourage guys, and you know, you got bad people like that around you, you're probably not training, you're probably not pushing yourself. I heard firsthand from someone that was very close to the situation when he lost to Buster Douglas. He was partying his ass off the entire week because you just start taking things for granted. You know, so I think that's what the coach is referring to there, that he's 58. He wants to feel glory again. He wants to beat Jake Paul. He wants to defy the odds. He wants to turn back time. Yeah, he wants the payday. But more importantly, he wants to end on a high at 58 years old. He certainly looks impressive. You know, going back, are you sure that? And he's like, yes, that's enough. Are you sure? I got more in me. I got more in me. Man, he's fired up, he's training hard, but the reality is there's limitations at 58 years old. It's just as simple as that. But will we see Mike Tyson knock Jake Paul out cold?
Yeah.
You're saying yes?
Yeah. I just, look, man, I don't know that Jake Paul can take a punch. I don't know. Like, I've seen him get hurt by Tyron Woodley, right?
Well,
I've seen him
hit him with that overhand that put him a little wobbly.
Yeah. Now we're talking about somebody who
Tommy Fury dropped him.
You're
Mike
telling
Tyson's
me Mike
going to punch a hole in this dude's
Tyson can't do that?
I know, but he's 58 years old.
I get that, but you're forgetting, like you left off there when you were going through his record, that Roy Jones fight. And I understand it was an exhibition, but we've seen him get in shape and be able to still be effective throwing combinations in the 10th round of a fight in the last 5 years. And that's not a fight he was training anywhere near the level for as he's doing for this one. And Jake Paul was also never Roy Jones. He was never as good as Roy Jones was at Roy Jones' peak.
But, and I don't want to say this because it sounds really disrespectful to him. And I'm not trying to be, because Anthony Pettis is a great guy, a legendary fighter, and an awesome human being. Anthony Pettis just beat Roy Jones Jr. in a match. You know what I mean? As I say, I'm not trying to take away anything from his achievement there and doing that and beating Roy Jones. Roy Jones went to a decision and looked, he was capable of going to a decision and fighting at a decent pace. But that was a diminished Roy Jones, if we're being honest.
Of course. Right? Yeah, that literally goes without saying. But the point I'm making is, like, Jake Paul doesn't have like the resources to go back to. There was never a point where Jake Paul was in the conversation for baddest man on the planet, like Mike Tyson was, like Roy Jones was, right?
Whoa. Jake Paul's not one of the baddest men on the planet. Jesus Christ, Harrington, I had no idea. This is news to me. Yeah, the thing is, Jake is loopy with his shots, okay? He swings wild and the chin's a little exposed in the air. Mike Tyson's style, being the shorter heavyweight, is always get on the inside and these blisteringly fast, powerful punches. He might do it. He might just do it. And I will raise a glass. I will raise a goddamn glass to that. Anyway, I think that's the show, guys. I think we went through all the big talking points. Congrats to Ilia Topuria. Can't wait to see what's next. Commiserations to Max, of course, Khamzat, Lerone, Sharabullet, everyone that won, everyone that showed up, the people of Abu Dhabi for showing such fantastic hospitality. I met some tremendous people there last week. That's the show for today. Hopefully we'll be back Thursday. I do have surgery tomorrow. I've got to run down to the doctor shortly. Got to get cleared for surgery. In fact, Brian, bring up that scan. Check this out. So I had neck surgery. I had a disc replacement 6 weeks ago.
Ooh.
And zoom right in on that, Brian. So see that the red part in the middle?
Yeah. The part that goes to white, it's so red.
Yeah. So that is obviously where this shows all the pain in my neck. I would have thought that's where the operation was done the first time, but the green part at the bottom where the little cursor is, or where, right there, that's where they did a disc replacement. So I went through the trauma of the disc replacement. When I came round, I had zero relief. So now I've been in so much pain, man. Thanks, Brian. I've been in so much pain for the last 18 months, and it's just wearing me down. Still going through my life, still trying to do it with a smile on my face, still flying all over the world, still doing my job and all the rest of it. But it's been a really, really tough, challenging time. Oh, woe is me. Yeah, it has been. It's been hard, man. It's been really, really hard. So I'm hoping and praying that tomorrow, when we do the surgery, 2 surgeries at the same time, that I get some relief and I get my life back to normal, because this has not been a fun time in my life. But always fun and pleasure talking with you, Mike, and Brian, of course. Thanks for watching the show. You never know. We might be back on Thursday. Take care. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, ring the bell. See you soon.